two new board members. And as Dr. Alguez said, we are really appreciative of having you on board because the four of us have been tasked to be here every meeting to have that quorum and be able to go forward. So now it gives us more flexibility, especially as travel and commitments are starting to increase. It's harder sometimes to get to make some of the meetings, but we will be able to do that. So good morning to everyone, and I'll now call to order this agenda review workshop meeting for the Florida Virtual School Board of Trustees. The purpose of the workshop is to develop and discuss agenda items which can be presented to the board for consideration and potential action at its next quarterly meeting, which is going to be held on June 14th, 2022. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I welcome everyone in attendance and also thank fellow board members and especially new board members and the old ones, and the Florida Virtual School CEO and all Florida Virtual School staff members who have prepared for today's workshop. And to the new board members, I will say the staff do an exemplary job in getting all the materials out in a timely manner and covering all and putting us in a good position to review the materials prior to the meeting. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to our new board members. As we've said, and it's good that the governor has appointed them earlier this month, and we're glad to have them on board. So with that stated, let's proceed to the roll call. And with Mr. Moore not being here, who is calling roll?
I'd like to introduce Teresa Umstead. She'll be acting board clerk today.
Okay, so I'll pass it over to call the roll, please.
Dr. John Latrette.
Present.
Ms. Linda Ryder.
Present.
Mr. Edward Pasquale.
Present.
Mr. Robert Cornarens.
Present.
Dr. Tony Arza.
Present.
And Ms. Kelly Garcia.
Present.
Excellent, thank you. Next, I'd open the floor for any opening remarks from the co-chair and the fellow board members. So, Madam Co-Chair, Ms. Reiter, any opening remarks?
I'd just like to welcome the two new board members. We like to call you the people that let us go on vacation and get sick. So those are your official titles. So I think we're all very happy to have you here. And it's been a great run for us. And we're just happy you're here, believe me. Welcome.
Thank you. Board member Arza?
I'm happy to be here, happy to be here with all of you. Looking forward to learning a lot from you guys and helping as much as I can.
Thank you and welcome again. Board member Garcia?
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to meet you all. Thank you for the warm welcome. I look forward to serving and learning about all you do and the way you serve kids and families in Florida and around the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Board member Connor Harrens?
Yeah, just I'd like to welcome the two board members, Dr. Tony and Kelly, and very impressive resumes. Just curious if they've got our resumes, or do we go around the horn once and just give a little elevator speech about ourselves and our experience so far, if that makes sense, maybe before or after.
We can do that. I'm not sure, was our bios sent out to the new board members?
No, we didn't send them out. They are on the website. We can go ahead and send the link as well.
That would be good.
Yeah, Cornarez wants to talk about himself. I get it. I understand.
Board member
I just want to hear how good you are. So I already know. I just want everybody else to know how good you are.
So you've got the floor, so go ahead. Continue. Board member Pasquale.
Welcome to the new board members. Board member Garcia, I don't know, but I've read some great things about you. Welcome. And Dr. Tony, I do know Dr. Tony well and his family well, and I will share with you, thank goodness he takes after his mom. So welcome, Dr. Tony.
Well, thank you, and thank you to everyone. And you know, that may be just take a few moments just to give some background. I've been The four of us started with the board, I think it's almost 2 years ago. We've been working through, I've been serving as board chair for that time. I'm John Water. I'm also, my day job is Chancellor of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University Worldwide, which has got a large online component. So it fits well into the Florida Virtual School in terms of the understanding of what they're doing and their mission, and they go forward. So I'll thank you again for the two of you joining the board, and I look forward to working with you. And if you've any questions, you can always reach out. Ms. Ryder, do you want to make a few comments on yourself?
Not really. They can read it on the website. I've been in education for many years, retired 2 years ago, but I'm still working as a consultant, deaf, hard of hearing. Tony, I knew your dad years ago in lots of political stuff around Miami-Dade. So your name is very familiar to me. I think you were really little, because I'm a lot older than you, but yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Read it on, it's boring. Just read it on the.
Okay. All right. Board member Connor Harness.
Yeah, welcome. Just a contractor, a large commercial solar contractor around the state, started from scratch, one pickup truck. We have 7 branches. But what I find fascinating is my ability to bring some of my business marketing experience to the rapid growth of Florida Virtual Schools and what they're doing, and how, watching them rebrand themselves. And it's exciting for me. I've always been passionate about education as well. We got involved in reading Tutor Made and mentoring high school kids building solar cars, and even mentoring some college kids at NSU and Broward College. So passionate for the education. Love what we're doing here. Put my son through a flex plan last summer. Got to see it firsthand at working. So really proud of the program, the whole thing, and especially all the associates from Florida Virtual Schools.
Thank you. Board member Paswally.
I want to welcome them. I will say to you that you come into a board that is pretty well tuned, fine-tuned. Chairman Dredd has done a great job. The board gets along, but honestly, the staff does a great job. I think that Dr. A and the leadership that he shows, I think you'll see that we don't waste a lot of time on things that are not purposeful and that are not meaningful to the mission of Florida Virtual. So I welcome you both, and I do know that we hope to continue that kind of cooperation and collaboration that we have with the team.
Thank you. Board member Garcia, would you like to make any additional comments on yourself?
Hi, I guess I'm probably the least known of the group so far. I'm a career educator and started with Teach for America. I've worked with low-income communities up through middle-income communities in public, private, and charter schools in Florida and in Texas. I come with experience in bringing choices to kids and families. That's really where my passion and experiences. So I'm excited about serving this board and serving the state of Florida and providing a high quality option for kids and families. I serve also on a local board here in Tampa. So I learned a lot about the EQ that comes with education. So I'm excited to bring that, and along with a little bit of business experience, to all of you, and just look forward to being a thought partner and help to be a good steward to our state and our taxpayer dollars.
Thank you, and welcome again. Board member Arza.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Miami-Dade County. I'm a former educator. Taught at a classical academy in Miami-Dade County, True North Classical Academy. And my passion is education. It's even though I studied more metaphysics, my dissertation was on a Canadian political philosopher named George Grant, who really focused on the shift in education, especially in America. And I'm happy to be here to bring kind of my experience from those realms in order to be able to help Florida Virtual educate kids, because kind of that's what's the point at the end of the day. So thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And I would like to say, the real mission and the purpose of Florida Virtual School is, and what we do and excel at, was visible at the graduation ceremonies that we just had. I was down and fortunate to be there in the in-person one, and we had over 600 plus students walk across the stage that day. And it's great to see how Florida Virtual School has really helped them succeed. And the smile on their faces as they walked across the stage was great. And we also had a virtual one with I think 400-ish. I'm not sure the exact number, but I think on total last year we graduated well over 1,000 students coming through Florida Virtual School, which is a great statement to what we're doing, and a great testament to the staff and the teachers that put a lot of work in to make these students successful. Many are going off to colleges, many are going off to good colleges, and many going into workforce. But we are here to help those young people succeed and to get through that one of the major milestones in life is graduating high school, and we're able to do that through Florida Virtual School. So it was great to be there, and I thank the staff for inviting me and allowing me to be part of the graduation ceremonies. So with that, now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Alguez to lead today's presentation and discussion of the proposed agenda items. And as earlier said, we have a copy of the agenda that was just sent to us. So Dr. Alguez, pass it over to you to lead the rest of the discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Watret. And welcome again, Ms. Garcia and Dr. Arza. As you can see, you're joining an amazing group of people here. Great board. And thank you for your service, your upcoming service. The purpose of today's workshop is to review the proposed agenda for the June 14th, 2022 quarterly board meeting. I'm going to walk through our leadership team's proposed agenda items for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions along the way or afterwards if needed. First item, I'm going to share here the agenda. Dr. Watret, your screen might get a little funky after I do this, so give you a moment to readjust.
There we go. Got it.
Okay. So first off, we'll have our usual minutes for after the call to order and the roll call and the opening remarks. We'll have the quarterly board meeting minutes and then the review workshop meeting minutes as well. And we'll have public comment. And the June 14th CEO comments, reports, and presentations will include 3 agenda items. 4.1 will be the quarterly financial report that I present every quarter. 4.2 will be the audited financial report. Actually, those two might be flip-flop by the time the meeting comes around. The other, which is this one, the internal audit plan, will be presented by our auditor. You've already had some good background. I think all of you have met Allison Bogart. 4.4 will be the foundation quarterly report. And lastly, I'll present an update on the Cognia accreditation report, which again, you've gotten some background on. We have 11 proposed consent agenda items for the board's consideration and approval. 5.1 includes employee contract templates. All FLVS employees are on an annual contract, and there are 11 contract templates representing different roles in the organization. And these templates are regularly reviewed and updated in accordance with applicable state and federal laws and regulations. Joe, if you can bring up Joanne, Sarah.
She's moving over now.
Thank you. Joanne's going to go over items 5.2 through 5.11, which are contracts, and she'll be describing them. And we have folks on board ready to come up if there are any questions about any of them that you need answered in more detail Just bear with us as we get through cyberspace here and bring her through the matrix. Hello, Joanne, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Algaze. Good morning, board members. It is a pleasure to see you all today and to meet our 2 new members. We have, as Dr. Algaze mentioned, a very full agenda for procurements and contracts on our consent. So please, as I walk through them, if you have any questions, stop me along the way, as our current board members or previous board members have always done, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. The first agenda item, 5.2, is the information technology staff augmentation. We are requesting the board's approval to authorize the president and CEO to execute awarded IT staff aug contracts and purchase orders resulting from direct quotes and secondary bid. This is under the Florida Department of Management Services, Florida DMS contract. Any questions about that item? We're asking for not to exceed of $3,500,000 per fiscal year. These are awarded by RFQ under this contract to a minimum of 25 awarded vendors. The length of time for any contractors really varies depending on the project and the budget. Okay, if no questions, moving on to 5.3, insurance broker services. We issued an RFP for our insurance broker. We are recommending, based upon that RFP, to award with Gallagher Benefit Services. We request your approval. We do not pay directly for this contract. It is paid based upon established commission rates for each service type supported by the carrier. So it's a percentage of the benefits that are awarded underneath that. The estimated impact of that, however, is about $240,000 for year 1, $201,000 for year 2, and $201,000 for year 3. The initial term of this agreement is 3 years with 3 optional 1-year renewals. Any questions on that item?
No.
Okay.
And let me just add a quick question. The
Sure.
expense of the broker's fees, those are consistent with commercial or governmental rates that they charge.
Yes. Yes, these are in line with industry standards. And I do want to note that this is a reduction, total reduction over the previous year. Previous year was closer to year 1 would have been 262,000. So year 1 here is 240,000. 5.4 is learning management systems deployment, migration, and support services. Again, we're requesting the board's approval of an RFP award and to authorize the president CEO to execute the resulting contracts. We have 2 awarded vendors under this for the 3 lots that were within the RFP. The first lot was course migration services. This is used in our FlexPoint sales division that sells and licenses our content outside the state of Florida. We are recommending award to Learn North Inc., who is the incumbent for these services, and a new provider, Learning Mate Solutions. Lot 2 is global course deployments, again to Learn North and Learning Mate. And Lot 3 is support services for Learn North. At the term of the agreements we're requesting approval for is 5 years with 3 optional 1-year renewal. The fiscal impact is $1.2 million collectively for the agreements per fiscal year. Again, the basis of this award is an RFP.
So just for clarity, the difference that each contract offers, like Learning North, what does it offer as opposed to Learning Mate Solutions?
As I mentioned, Learn North is the incumbent. The difference really as to what they're awarded, there's no difference in the type of work. Learning Mate, we will have to train and bring up to speed to provide the same services that Learn North is currently providing for us. They'll be trained and they may have specializations in different LMSs to migrate courses or deploy courses in different LMSs, but what they were awarded and the work they were awarded under the lots is really the same.
Okay, and then the reason they're not being considered for lot 3 is they don't provide that service?
I will have to go back and look at the evaluation. I don't know if they bid on lot 3. Let me go back and check and I'll circle back with you, or they just didn't have the relevant and extensive experience that Learn North did in that lot.
Okay.
But I will verify that and circle back with the board offline.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that item?
This question is the provision for termination if for failure to perform. Is David satisfied with the legal pieces of those termination rights that we have?
Yes, I am. We standardize those where we can.
And it's not even just for failure to perform. We maintain the right to terminate for convenience as a part of our standard agreement. So it doesn't even have to be a breach if we're unhappy with the service.
And is there a cost to us if we exercise the right of termination to convenience?
No, we would just need to pay for any services rendered up until the point of termination.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. The next item is spend authority under our 2022 and 2023 FLVS in-service agreements. In February 2017, the board approved the award of an ITB to the Rosen Center Hotel to host these events for FLVS. Since that time, our staff has increased significantly. We had some changes, of course, with the COVID years. And so we would like to bring back to the board approval for the expenditures for in-service 2022, which is going to occur in November, and in-service 2023, which is also November 2023. We're estimating 1.9 million per event, which is inclusive of the shared guest rooms for staff traveling outside the area, food and beverage in lieu of the per diem, and audiovisual rental equipment and setup.
Now, with these events, our last year only like half of the staff were able to attend. Is the idea to have all staff attending, or is it still going to be split with a virtual component also?
No, this year, Dr. Algaze, and if you want to jump in and speak to this, but my understanding is the policy changed, and like previous years to COVID, it is a mandatory event for staff.
That's correct.
So that's the increase in the numbers.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Dr. Algaze, what happens to classes and students during the times that everybody's in these in-service?
So those are the equivalent of a brick and mortar teacher workdays.
Oh, okay. So they have off.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And Dr. Algaze, do you think that was there something that we could take away from COVID where we were more efficient offering online this rather than bringing people into Orlando and the costs associated with all that?
There were some issues with having them online in terms of the quality of what was being offered online versus in person.
Okay, so so you think that having them in person is significantly better?
We do.
I would agree with that, given the distributed model that we run as well. It's always good to get the staff and the faculty together at least once a year to at least to network and get to know each other. And also it's a good bonding opportunity for everyone as well, given that they're working remotely.
About how many staff members will be at each in-service event?
Approximately 3,500 is what we're budgeting for.
For the 3 days.
Do we have any idea about what the costs are per staff member to attend?
We could calculate that and get it to you.
Yeah, I can run those numbers quickly. I just didn't know if that was part of your evaluation at all.
What's the total cost anticipated then? I think that maybe that's a better way to get to it.
The total cost that we have here is estimated at 1.9 million per event.
Okay.
But that's for 3,500 employees for 3 days, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
and
not good,
I also agree that this once a year, especially everybody's remote, with FLVS is really helpful. I'm sure it's really helpful.
Right. And that includes the estimate for, again, the hotel rooms for those coming in out of the area. We employ people throughout the entire state of Florida, and on some exceptions outside of Florida. It includes, extensive AV setup for each of the rooms to administer the classes. So it is a comprehensive figure that we'll be spending with the Rosen.
Well, I'm sorry, Linda, go ahead.
Do you bring speakers and people from outside in? Do you have to pay them also, or how does that work for?
Yes, we do. We only really have one coming this year that's going to be paid.
And that's included in this budget, right?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, they're expensive.
But I will say most of our speaker underlying contracts are really minimal. We're not paying any high profile speakers to come in.
Yeah, no. But
Valued speakers, don't get me wrong, valued speakers, but no big high profile, high dollar
right,
speakers.
big name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got it.
And the majority of the in-service sessions are conducted by our staff members and sharing best practices.
So Dr. Alges, the reason for the question here is, given our mission and given the manner in which we deliver education to our students, are we suggesting that in-person is more efficient than attending virtually, and even though we're Florida virtual?
Well, similarly, we have a lot of face-to-face interactions with our students and our teachers throughout the year.
I just want us to be careful about being contrary to our mission.
Yeah, right. And it's once a year. That's the only time that we really bring them together for the total mass in service like that.
It's once a year, but a $1.9 million expenditure. That's the concern. So that I think that would just need to balance. That's all.
Okay.
So I do think there's an element of virtual piece that you should consider keeping inside of this for people who are either ill or can't get there for some reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do that for the illnesses and documented illnesses or documented reasons.
Yeah, I think real rough math is what, $600 an employee. I think it's a good investment for the organization.
And that's over 3 days as well. So
Right.
fine. So to your point, board member, as well, is I think it's important. We're not going away from the mission of being a virtual schools, given bringing the staff together just to see each other, meet with other, and go over some of the key policy and changes all at one time. So I think it's well worth the investment for the faculty and staff.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chair. I just want to make sure that we're consistent with our mission and squeezing every dollar out of the public monies that we can.
Noted on that.
Has the board ever attended one of these, just to give maybe...
Yeah, I attended last year for one day and presented to the group.
Right, good,
And I'm planning on attending this year. It's already in my calendar.
great.
And you all are invited.
Just out of curiosity, have we ever looked into how much the average district pays per employee for professional development? I'd just be curious how that compares to our approximate, $550 or $600 per person for this event.
I don't think we have. We'll make note of that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's a wise comparison, but I'm not so sure we want to follow that.
Yeah, I think they probably spend a lot more than that.
That would have been my guess as well, but I just think that that's an important perspective to have.
We will look into it.
And those workshops they're totally different than this in the actual brick and mortar school district. There's never a 3-day workshop, and you know, where they're paying for hotels and things like that, but they are mandatory. There's, Dr. Algaze knows there's many, many mandatory workshops where you have to go and you have to be in person, but it's different than this because you're not bringing people in from like all over the state. You're only bringing Dade County or Broward County or Palm Beach County. So they're not paying for travel, and they would be great, but they don't do that. You're lucky if you get a cup of coffee in the morning. So it's much different.
All right.
Okay, if there are no other questions, then I will move on to item 5.6, bought in conversational artificial intelligence statement of work with Microsoft Corporation. This was awarded under the Florida Department of Management Services Microsoft Premier Support and Consulting Services contract. This is really to streamline and improve our customer support. We want the ability for parents, students, and potential parents and students, families for FLVS to be able to call in and get some questions answered more quickly through bot, password resets, things like that. This technology investment, we're looking at $778,000 or not to exceed of $778,000. This includes the Microsoft provided resource in the areas of project management, product manager, engineers, developers, architects, scrum masters, technical leads, and security consultants. We're hoping, and well, we're not hoping, we anticipate that by implementing this technology, we will have a reduction under our call center and support contract because that'll be less calls hitting that contract, as well as improve customer service. Any questions on that item?
It's good.
Okay. Next item, 5.7. This is to approve the award for information technology support services, and we're calling this the IT matrix. This is different than IT staff aug because this is the award to IT service companies versus individual resources that we use for staff augmentation purposes or specific projects. This is to support our ongoing IT roadmap and rollout with updates to our technology. We are recommending awarding to the 8 organizations that are listed within the bot. I don't, unless you'd like me to read them, I'll save you that pain. We're looking to execute a 5-year agreements with these companies with 3 optional 1-year renewals. Just like the previous, we always maintain the right to terminate for convenience with no fee. We are requesting the board approve a collective amount of $1 million per fiscal year for these contracts. We will award individual works under statements of works by RFQ or direct quotes based upon their ranking within the competitive solicitation RFP. Any questions on that item?
Has each of these companies worked with us before? Have been under contract with us before?
Some of them have worked with us before. Some of them are awardees under the IT staff aug contract. Some of them have done course development work for us, and some are brand new. So it's really a good mix of providers. Any other questions?
So will you get down to a short list and then, or is it?
This is the final list because the projects can vary greatly. We wanted a big pool of suppliers under this award that we can reach out to depending on the project size and scope. Some of them may have specialization in certain types of IT areas since it is a broad category and may not be a fit for every request that we have.
And who makes that determination once you have a scope?
Once we have a scope, we put out a request for quote to these vendors, and we make the determination based upon their response to that request for quote. Who's giving us the best price and value, who has the best methodology or experience in a specific area. Our IT staff will be the leaders on that and making that determination.
So is there a selection committee after you put out RFP to determine which?
Well, this is the RFP. The RFQ is, there may be a committee depending on the size of the project. Smaller projects can be awarded by a direct quote based upon the rates that they put in for under this RFP. Larger projects will follow an RFQ process where, yes, there'll be several people on a committee that'll evaluate the responses that we get from these awardees here.
Is there any dollar limit when it has to go to committee versus just a small project?
Over 25,000.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. 5.8 is furniture for the new headquarters. As you all know, in November 2021, you approved a new lease for us to move our headquarters in Orlando, Florida. We are reusing existing furniture where it makes sense. However, because of the new space, we do need to purchase new furniture that fits in the new office size, new cubicles, some collaboration space. We're requesting approval to piggyback and utilize the awardees under the Florida Department of Management Services furniture contract in an amount not to exceed $450,000. Any questions there?
Yeah.
When do you finally move over and finally move into the new building?
First operations will be moving July. Some basic IT operations and finance operations will be moving in July, but the building won't be fully open and ready for occupancy till likely later in September. There were quite a bit of improvements and fixes that needed to be made to the office space that we can move in, and based upon how long everything is taking right now with materials and getting contractors, we're a little bit delayed.
Okay.
I recommend you look at delivery dates for furniture as well. I've had friends in the furniture
Yes.
business.
Mhm.
That is a problem.
Yes, we are. We're trying to get the cubicles ordered first because the cubicles need to be hardwired, and they will be under they will need those approved for permitting. Other furniture, we're going to use everything that we can from the VLC, the current office space. So we'll have enough to get us going. And if we have to wait a little bit for furniture after the cubicles, it won't be a tragedy. We do have enough to bring over from the current office space to keep us going. It may not fit exactly, but it'll function so that we can have the space occupied and keep operations going.
Okay.
Item 5.9 is our annual benefits program, including stop loss and related waiver of policy B001. We're requesting your approval of the FLVS group insurance benefits for fiscal year 22-23 and authorize a temporary waiver of board policy B001. That policy is actually being brought back to the board in September for approval, so we're asking for a waiver of that policy prior to that date so that we can implement it effective July 1. And that is a waiver of the waiting period from 60 days for benefits to 30 days after employment. Again, this is for fiscal year, the basis of award for our medical, dental, and vision plans were competitive solicitation in previous years, and we're under renewal years for those contracts. The other services were quoted out by our benefits broker.
Okay.
Any questions on the annual benefits program? Okay, sorry, I just scrolled up too far on my notes. If you'll hang with me 1 second. Okay, next item is 5.10. The ACT Master Course Licensing Agreement, ACT, which purchased previously known as Maui courses, are courses that we license for use with our students. They're in the subject areas of leadership, peer counseling, career research, and decision-making and critical thinking. We are requesting approval of a new agreement for 1 year with 2 optional 1-year renewals. We pay ACT based upon successful course completions. So if a student starts a course and withdraws or doesn't pass the course, we do not pay for the license for that course. We estimate spending $2,500,000 per fiscal year. And again, that's based upon completion. We do license in small amounts these courses outside Florida through our FlexPoint, and we pay under FlexPoint about 45% of the license fee. The basis of award here is the State Board of Education Rule for copyrighted and educational materials, so it's an exemption. Any questions on that one?
Can you provide color to the two new board members as to why the pay on completion is important? That we don't have that responsibility until that occurs.
Correct. So, of course, students enroll, choose the courses and enroll based upon guidance counselor approval. They can enroll in a course. There are some that withdraw within the 14 days, some that withdraw or never complete the course. And again, it's important because then we don't pay for that student. We get paid or reimbursed by the state based upon successful completion. So for us paying our vendors based upon successful completion, it makes sure that we don't lose money.
And it was an important point just for the two new
Yes.
board members, because unlike in the traditional system where they get paid if a student shows up at count date, we get paid upon completion of the course.
So it's really, I appreciate you bringing that up because it is really important. Most people who license materials and courses would be paying regardless. So we don't end up having a loss ever on these courses.
You know the percentage that start and don't finish?
I don't know offhand. I know Robin or Jason may have those numbers, but if not, we can circle back with the board following the meeting with that.
Yeah, we can circle back with that, sir.
Did you want it just for?
This, how are these courses used? Are these like elective type courses?
Yes.
These are elective courses.
Okay.
And they're available. Some of these are middle school, some are high school, some take it in middle school for high school credit.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Somebody else had a question, I think. Oh, all right.
We're good.
Okay. 5.11 is Gartner Service Agreement. Again, we are utilizing the prices in the contract under the Florida Department of Management Services. Gartner is a global research and advisory firm providing information, consultation, and tools for leaders in IT, finance, HR, customer service, and support. We're using it mostly for our IT and information security teams. It provides best practices, the organizations that are leaders in here, consulting services. We are asking your approval for a 2-year agreement that will run from August 1st, 2022 through July 31st, 2024. The cost is $261,737 for year 1 and $269,592 for year 2. Any questions on that item? Okay. My last agenda item is really still just a placeholder at this point. It is one that you've seen most board meetings, which is an increase in spend authority on contracts. So I appreciate you allowing me to keep this as a placeholder. Right now, I don't have any on here. However, as we approach year end, we occasionally have a surprise where we may have more enrollments and need more licenses under one of our courses than we originally anticipated. If I don't have anything prior to the final board posting for the June board meeting, I will pull this agenda item off. If I do have anything coming up, we'll be sure that all the board members have the appropriate information on that item. And that is all I have for this extensive agenda now. Any overall questions that you want to go back to?
No, they're all good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thanks.
All right. We're going to be presenting in this section of proposed consent, the annual reports and forms, 7 reports. The first one, 6.1, is our district English language learner plan. The ELL plan will be submitted to the Florida Department of Education. It describes procedures and methodologies for serving our ELL students. It includes standards for school program entry, exit, and post-reclassification monitoring, a description of the instructional, categorical, and student services, provisions for any plans to employ qualified staff, and evidence of consultation with the Parent Leadership Council or other advisory board representative parents of ELL students. Any questions on that item? Okay, 6.2, I'm sorry. Is there a question?
No, go ahead.
6.2 is a 2022-23 mental health plan, which needs to be submitted also to the Florida Department of Education in order to receive payment from the state's mental health allocation fund. The mental health assistance allocation is intended to fund the establishment and expansion of school-based mental health care, train educators and other school staff in detecting and responding to mental health issues, and connect children, youth, and families who may experience behavioral health issues with appropriate services. With the 2022-23 allocation and the roll forward dollars from last year's allocation, our total expenditure to meet these goals during the next fiscal year is estimated to be slightly more than 2.5 million. Any questions on that item?
I have a question. We started talking about this last time. How are these students identified? Like, do you have something in place that, since you're not there looking at them directly, do the parents know that there's a place for them to go or talk to somebody at the school? I mean, how does that whole thing work?
Yes, they do. The counselors are involved. The teachers immediately reach out to the counselors, and the counselors reach out to our mental health team. It's a pretty extensive team at this point. I think it's over 30 people. There's a leader of the team, and she is constantly looking for ways to communicate with parents to make sure that they're aware that this is available.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Next item, 6.3 is the disposal of assets. Facilities Department, in preparing for the move of our Orlando headquarter offices, has determined that we have assets that qualify for disposal in accordance with Florida statutes. They're fully depreciated in accordance with FLVS depreciation schedules, or were expensed at the time of acquisition, those non-capitalized items, and they're either unfit for FLVS use or as excess items. The items will be disposed of in a manner that best fits the needs of the organization, up to and including an open sale, donation to another school district, or otherwise as specified in Florida statute. In the course of the move, additional items may be determined for disposition. Any non-capitalized tangible personal property will be similarly disposed of, and a list of items will be presented at the next board meeting. So there's not a attachment yet because we're still sorting through all the things that will be disposed.
Okay.
Item 6.4 will be the legislative report, the 2021 legislative report. Report summarizes the operations and accomplishments of Florida Virtual School in Florida and nationally, and includes the marketing and operational plan, assets and liabilities, a copy of the annual audited financial report, recommendations of the unit costs providing services, and results of student and parent surveys used to assess the effectiveness of the services we provide.
I have a question. I don't know when I was going to ask it, but I wrote it down. So the compliance with the new parental rights, is that something we discuss now, or that be on that? I'd be curious to see, the process of how we looked at it, how we reviewed the material, any other information that new law has on virtual schools.
So we are re-looking through all our material. All of our material is built initially to state of Florida standards. So whatever standards and the specifics in that standard from Florida, we build our courses around that. In terms of the new legislation and curriculum development, we are going back and with an eye to look at everything to see if everything is compliant with law. And if it's not, we will be redoing it. So we're in the process actually of looking through all of that all over again.
Would that information be under this section, or would you have a special agenda item to discuss this with us?
We don't have an agenda item for that. I guess we could discuss it here further if you'd like, since it does deal with the legislation.
Okay, well, maybe we can just, leave it in here and discuss it when you're done with your evaluation, because you're still evaluating, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Section 6.5, approval of FLVS employees evaluation instrument. Our evaluation instruments are regularly reviewed and updated in accordance with applicable state and federal laws and regulations. The instructional evaluation instrument and the administrative evaluation instrument are intended to evaluate instructor non-classroom instructional and administrative, such as principal and instructional leaders, assistant principals, performance within the areas of professional and leadership practice, performance of students, and other indicators of performance such as professional growth. The Florida Department of Education approved the instructional evaluation instrument and the administrative evaluation instrument in October of 2019. No changes are recommended for the administrative evaluation instrument and the instructional evaluation instrument, which are attached to the item. The support staff evaluation instrument is not governed by any requirements set in Florida statute. And to better align with the FLVS strategic goals and organizational accountability, we are proposing the following revisions to the support staff evaluation instrument for the upcoming year. With the approval of the supervisor, each employee will establish a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 functional or business goals that are aligned to the FLVS strategic goals and are assessed by measurable key performance indicators or KPIs to evaluate employee performance and achievement of these goals. The evaluation instrument will include category weighting to promote organizational priorities on achievement of FLVS strategic goals. Therefore, the functional goals will be weighted at 70%, the professional learning goals at 10%, and core competencies at 20%. And these revisions will further strengthen our support staff evaluation process. Any questions on that item? Okay, next will be the FLVS quarterly staff data report. As we do every quarter, this report will summarize all the personnel actions from the prior quarter. 6, 7 will be the last consent item, and the school principal plan. In April of 2018, Florida Department of Education reviewed and approved the FLVS Level 2 Principal Preparation Program. After recently reviewing the program, we decided to revise some components with the timeline, and we will be requesting the board's approval of the updated proposed principal certification plan. Any of those? All right. Next up will be section 7. We'll have 5 financial items for the board's proposed discussion agenda. Corey Wheeler, Senior Director of Finance and Treasury Services, will be reviewing these items. Corey, up already?
Moving over now, sir.
Thank you. Looks like Zoom's running a little slow today. There we are. Morning, Corey. Can you hear us, Corey? Are you out of the Ethernet?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Got you now. All right.
All right.
Morning.
Good morning. So the first agenda item, 7.1, is the accounts receivable debt write-off. We will be presenting receivable write-offs from scholarships in the general fund totaling $5,507. We've exhausted all efforts to secure payments without success. It has been determined that these invoices are collectible. Any questions on that? All right, 7.2 will be a performance pay plan for eligible support staff. We will be recommending a performance pay plan for FLVS support staff who are rated as highly effective on their 22-23 fiscal year evaluations and are not included in the 22-23 Florida teacher salary increase allocation, the Flex Point Sales Performance Pay Plan, or any other previously approved plan. To be eligible to receive the $5,000 performance pay, the employee must be effective or highly effective in each individual category and have a summative rating of highly effective based on clear, measurable, and objective key performance indicators that use data to support success. In addition, the support staff employee must be in good standing and employed at FLVS as of the date of the FLVS distribution of the performance pay funds. We will include this in the proposed fiscal year 23-24 budget for payment to those eligible once evaluations are finalized. Item 7.3 is the fiscal year 21-22 budget amendment number 3. We will be requesting approval of a third amendment to the 21-22 budget to update estimated revenues and appropriation changes in the general fund, special revenue fund, internal service fund, and enterprise fund. The fiscal impact of the general fund is a net increase of $4.19 million, changing from $96.8 million to $101 million. There is no fiscal impact to the special revenue funds as revenues equal expenditures. The ending fund balance of the internal service fund is a net decrease of $10.6 million, changing from $28.7 million to $18 million. The ending fund balance for the enterprise fund has a net decrease of $9.6 million, changing from $67.8 million to $77.4 million. Any questions on the budget amendment? Okay, 7.4, fiscal year 22-23 omnibus salary schedule. We will be requesting approval of the fiscal year 22-23 omnibus salary schedule. It was determined that the salary schedules applicable to all FLVS personnel should be revised and updated in accordance with the proposed attached omnibus salary schedule. We will incorporate and build out those salary schedules previously approved by the Board of Trustees, and it will reflect the following edits and updates. Minimum wage update to $15 per hour minimum effective September 30, 22 in accordance with applicable law. A leveled salary schedule for FLVS support staff, revising the minimum to maximum salary ranges consistent with the latest compensation study, and the rearrangement and recalibration of various FLVS instructional administrative personnel positions and titles. If approved, the Omnibus FLVS salary schedule will become effective as of July 1st, 2022.
Okay.
And lastly, go ahead.
That was good.
Okay. Lastly, 7.5, the fiscal year 22-23 proposed budget. We will be presenting for discussion and approval the proposed fiscal year 22-23 budget. The 22-23 annual budget consists of general funds of $320.8 million, special revenue funds of $7.5 million, internal service funds of $61.2 million, and enterprise funds of $52.2 million. A substantial portion of the 22-23 budgeted expenditures are the result of recommendations based on the strategic plan initiatives. Other budgeted expenditures relate to additional personnel, information technology costs absorbed back into the general fund after the expiration of certain CARE and ESSER grants, legislative cost increases, projects including kindergarten readiness, licensing needs, IT, security and compliance software, and the customer care AI chatbot tool. Total revenues and transfers in for all funds are $457.3 million. Total appropriations and transfers out for all funds are $441.7 million. Fund balance is projected to increase by $15.6 million during the 22-23 fiscal year. Overall, the ending fund balance is projected to be $263.9 million. Thank you. I'll now turn it back over to you, Dr. Algaze.
I do have one question on 7.2, the performance pay. I understand there's been a complaint filed, and I was wondering what we're going to be doing about that, researching that matter.
I'm sorry, a complaint filed?
You, Dr. Algaze.
I'm not aware of the complaint that was filed for the performance pay plan.
I thought there was something that you had mentioned of came to the IG in the state. Wasn't that about that?
No,
No,
that
it
wasn't.
about this.
That wasn't about that, and I'd be happy to talk about that afterwards and offline because such matters really need to maintain. We need to maintain as much confidentiality as possible. But
Okay.
it wasn't on this, Board Member Cornelius.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, thank you, Corey. Next, we'll have number 8.1, FLVS Board Policies, Policy Revisions and Repeals up for the first reading. We'll request the board's authorization to publish the text and provide public notice of a hearing on these proposed policies, policy revisions and repeals. David Daggett will be reviewing these at the June 14th board meeting. For 8.2, we will also present the proposed 22-23 FLVS Student Code of Conduct for a first reading. All districts are required to adopt a student code of conduct and to distribute to the appropriate stakeholders. As you can see, they're a very extensive list. We also have a number of proposed board policies, policy revisions and repeals, which will be put forward for the board's hearing and adoption or the second reading, which is item 9.1.
Good.
Under proposed discussion organizational meetings, we have two items. First is 10.1, the Board of Trustees organizational board meeting date for fiscal year 22-23. I'll recommend the establishment of September 27th, 2022 as the date of the combined organizational and first quarterly meeting of the FLVS Board of Trustees for fiscal year 22-23. I will also ask that we consider additional quarterly and agenda workshop meeting dates for next year, which will be decided by the board during the organizational meeting recommended for September 27th. Second item is the deferral of election and continuation of terms of service of current board chair and co-chair. We'd like to give sufficient time to our two newly appointed board members to better acquaint themselves with not only FLVS, but with the other members of the board before being called upon to elect a chair and co-chair of the Board of Trustees. To ensure a smooth transition in consultation and agreement with FLVS General Counsel, I'll recommend that the board defer the election of board chair and co-chair until the first quarterly meeting of the board in fiscal year 22-23, consistent with board bylaw 2.7, section 2. Waive board bylaw 2.73 such that the current chair and co-chair may continue their service of such offices beyond their current term of service, which would otherwise end June 30th, 2022, and waive board bylaw 2.74 such that the current chair and co-chair may be eligible for nomination and re-election for an additional one-year term. 11.1, resolution supporting drop extension application. We'll be presenting a proposed resolution through which the board will be able to express its support for the drop extension applications. Then we'll have, David will have some comments to share. I'll have some today as well. And then we'll have closing and adjournment. Closing remarks. David, if you'd like to go ahead and do yours if necessary.
I was trying to get through the entire meeting without uttering a word. I am going to I have to read through a script here where I ask for 2 litigation shade meetings, much as I did last board workshop, actually, for the 2 matters as follows. So as General Counsel of Florida Virtual School, I am requesting 2 litigation shade meetings for purposes of discussing litigation strategy and expenditures pursuant to section 286.0118 of the Florida statutes with respect to 2 different federal lawsuits. First, FLVS v. K-12 Inc. and K-12 Florida LLC, which is case number 620 CV 2354. The second case is FLVS v. D2L Corp. And D2L Inc., case number 620 CV 1788. These are both currently pending in the Federal District Court of the Middle District of Florida in the Orlando Division. And it's important to know that they are 2 separate litigation shade meetings. So I'll hereby go ahead and give notice that the litigation shade meeting number 1 and litigation shade meeting number 2 are set for June 14, 2022, when the board next meets at its quarterly meeting. And it is estimated that the first of the litigation shade meetings would begin at 9:30, and the second would begin thereafter. It's anticipated that the length of the litigation shade meetings will be 20 to 30 minutes. They'll be transcribed by a court reporter pursuant to 286-011. And the persons to be expected in attendance are the board chair Watrette, board co-chair Linda Ryder, board member Tony Arza, board member Kelly Garcia, board member Rob Kornarens, board member Ed Pasquale, CEO and President Dr. Luis Alguez, myself, the General Counsel of Florida Virtual School, David D'Agata, and a court reporter. The litigation shade meeting for K-12 is going to include all of those and outside counsel as follows. Outside counsel Steve Luther of the Luther Law Firm, attorney Suzanne Hill from the Rumberger Law Firm, and Louis Guzman, who is a senior assistant general counsel at the Florida Virtual School. The D2L litigation shade meeting will include all the board members that I just listed, Dr. Alguez, myself, and a court reporter, and outside counsel Robert Thielhelm of Baker Hostetler, Lindy Cohen of Baker Hostetler, and again, Louis Guzman, who is a senior assistant general counsel with Florida Virtual School. So public notice will be given in accordance with 286-011 subsection 8, and we will proceed from there. Thank you.
Thank you much. And we're also going to be meeting prior about our cybersecurity audit. In closing, during the closing remarks on June 14th, I'll provide an update on recent student activities and achievements, including graduation. Thank you all for your participation today. We'll timely post the June 14th quarterly board meeting agenda. We invite all board members to reach out to me directly with any questions you have. I have some notes from some of the comments today to get back to you all. We'll do that soon after the meeting. And turn it back over to you, Chair Watrette, for any closing comments and to formally adjourn.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Alguez. At this time, I'd like to ask if any of the board members have any additional questions or comments. Hearing none. Again, I appreciate all the hard work that's gone into providing all the documentation and everything for the board meeting. And as we all expect, it's provided to us in a timely manner. So I do hope that the board members take time to go through it, and if they have additional questions, they can then ask them. But it's there easily accessed through board docs. I think everyone should be part of that now to get all the information. So thank you to all the staff and everyone for the preparation on that. So having reviewed the proposed agenda item for June 14, 2022, the quarterly meeting will now proceed to closing remarks and adjournment. So I'll turn it over. Madam Co-Chair, do you have any final remarks?
No, I just want to thank the everybody on staff again for making us look good and doing all this work ahead of time. I really appreciate it. And welcome to the new board members.
Board member Arza, any final comments?
No final comments, just a very good job today. Thank you so much for the detailed analysis.
Thank you. Board member Garcia?
No comments, just thank you. And thanks for the warm welcome, everyone.
Welcome aboard to both of you. Board member Kornarens?
I did what everybody else said, just great presentation. Thank you.
And board member Pasquale?
Same welcome to the new board members. Thank you, staff, again, as usual. Again, welcome, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. And yeah, I've got nothing to add to the comments, just to again, it was great graduation. It was great seeing the kids walk across the stage and then meeting their goal of getting their high school diploma. So thank you to everyone involved. Dr. Alguez, do you have any closing remarks?
No, I thank you as usual, all of you, for your service to our school. It is unparalleled and much appreciated. Thank you. On behalf of our students, families.
Thank you. And Dr. Degata, any general counsel closing remarks?
The only remark that I have is that I'm very grateful that board member Pasquale came back from vacation to visit us today. And I really can't tell you how happy we are, really, for this entire board that we've got here, and rounding it out with board member Garcia and board member Arza. Let me tell you, we're here for you. Okay, the board members here have been through the ringer. And you know, we recognize that we need to catch you up as soon as possible. We're here for you, and I hope you know that. The accessibility to the agenda, if you're having any troubles with that, you just let us know from this point on, for sure. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today, and we are so fortunate to have you. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, one last point. I wanted to thank David Dagata for his relative conciseness today.
That's what I'm all about.
Thank you.
Sounds like attorney jabs.
Let's not encourage it too much. All right, thank you, everyone. This concludes today's agenda review workshop meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Come on, somebody.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. So once again, everyone, thank you for attending and prepared for today's workshop meeting. And we'll reconvene on June 14th, 2022 for the meeting. Thanks, everyone. So the meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.